All right. Thank you for keeping it tuned to your love music, love life station, Smooth 98.1. This is the Smooth Breakfast. Yours truly is Ayokunmi Kikere. Going 16 minutes past 8 a.m. A hump of the week, Wednesday morning, a wet and, of course, cool sort of morning after all the heat of yesterday. I will take all the coolness I can get at this point in time. And we really need to cool down because yesterday was an evening or a night of absolutely bonkers football action. We'll get into that pretty soon. All I can say is thank you for always being here and joining us in the locker room this morning, talking about us. I'm not the only one who is recovering from the events of last night because Tega Supreme also is on this one. Tega, how are you feeling this morning?
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic. Arsenal fans, hope you see why I was telling people to go to bed early, that today there's war. I said, go and sleep. You people refuse to sleep. But my goodness, yesterday, plus Fantastic Four, plus Three Musketeers. Oh, I didn't see anyone at the Emirates. Plus Ballon d'Or, plus Salon d'Or. I didn't see anyone at the Emirates. In fact, we have to talk about that match. So we'll talk about the masterclass by Arsenal or the disaster class by Real Madrid, whichever one you're looking out for. We'll talk about that today. We'll also touch a little bit on what is happening in the NBA. It's almost as if you win the NBA championship like this, they will sack you the next season. Shocker, shocker. We'll talk about the sack that came in the NBA and for which world champion. All right. We'll also touch a little bit on the Monte Carlo Masters in action today. Carlos Alcaraz in action today. Novak Djokovic. But before that, Sasha Zverev crashes out in the first match of the
Hmm.
Monte Carlo Masters. And he was bragging about, I'm sleeping in my own bed. I should be able to perform better. Maybe he's too comfortable. We'll talk about that a little bit. So all of that and more coming inside the locker room this morning. But I don't want to be the only one doing the talking. I want to hear from you. If you're an Arsenal fan and you don't call me today, I wonder if you're a real Arsenal fan. We need to brag on them. Stomp on people. Like, make Elke Adeowa feel very bad. You understand?
Indeed.
Make it,
Elke has
make it,
Elke hasn't shown up yet, Sha. But you
you
forget.
can understand. Call him out of his hiding place. Make Nathan feel very, like his Premier League is about to be a Panda Premier League. Let's just come outside and stomp on these people, all right? All right. So Ayokunmi, tell us how these people can stomp on Okay Adereba and Nathan this morning.
All right, if you want to come out, wearing your best Arsenal colors, I mean, you guys definitely have the bragging rights this morning. And we need to hear your voices on the locker room. Please, the WhatsApp number to send your messages to remains 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. That's the WhatsApp number. We're also on YouTube. You can catch us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos, the best place for all the behind the scenes stuff and where you'll definitely find LK. So, looking forward to your messages. But before we get into all that, we need to take a step back and talk some NBA, where the Denver Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone with just 3 regular season games remaining, despite looking set to claim a playoff place.
Yes, but it's not just about claiming a playoff place. It's about claiming the right playoff place. So number one, to get home advantage. Number two, to get a more, you know, favorable draw so that you can play your way into the playoffs. I don't know how if you understand this. So at
Mm,
some point, they were looking like they were going to clinch number 3 spot in the West. Then they went on 4 losses in a row. In fact, the season has been topsy turvy for them. They've had good runs, they've had bad runs, they've made excuses. Oh, Jamal Murray is just coming back from injury. Nikola Jokic is the only one doing the work. Oh, their support cast is this. Oh, their support cast is that. But in the running, it was no longer about support cast or who is present or who is not present. These guys are just not playing good basketball. And it's defending a championship is hard, but falling off the way that the Nuggets have fallen off after winning that championship with a player like Nikola Jokic is one of the best players in the league is shocking.
mm.
And so ultimately, they have I think again, if you ask me, it's the timing. They have done the wrong thing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly, Tega.
So you can hear me, yeah? All
Yeah,
right.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so but is the timing of it? They should have just, if they wanted to sack him, they should have sacked him earlier. But 3 games before the NBA playoffs, it's just the timing is off. The time
Mm,
it's not, it's wicked timing for even Edelman that's supposed to take over. I, I don't know what the idea behind it was. I think at this point in time, when the regular season is almost over and the NBA playoffs are here, I think you sink or swim with that decision of keeping Malone on for that long. But to
right.
fire him now, ah,
It's just
is tantamount to what Tottenham did though when they sacked Jose Mourinho before a final.
exactly. I still can't understand that decision till this very day. Very
Till this
weird
very
stuff.
day. So I'm not shocked by the sacking. I'm shocked by the timing. But then again, the owner of Denver Nuggets, you know who he is now? He's the owner of Arsenal.
Indeed. Indeed.
So
I think Josh Kroenke, I think he's the son of Stan Kroenke,
it's
who
Stan,
is the owner
yes.
of Arsenal. Yeah.
Who's the owner of Arsenal? It's all a Crunk Up project. Don't worry, it's all Crunk Up property. So at the end of the day, he wanted to take, but the timing is just off, just off. So for me, that's the shock that the timing, that this is when they had to fire him. It's not that they fired him because the results were mixed. It was always going to happen, but that they fired him when they fired him. So this makes, in the last 6 world championships in the NBA that were won by 4 of the coaches that won them have been fired by the same team.
Just imagine.
The
Where's
last six, so
where's the continuity? You just
the
wonder.
last six, the only 2 coaches that have not been fired so far, that have won world championships in the last 6 years, is Steve Kerr of Golden State Warriors and Mazzulla of Boston Celtics. The rest of the coaches that have won the world championship sacked.
Just imagine. Continuing the culture.
All right.
Anyways, let's leave that and head into the world of tennis, where, as you talked about earlier, top seed Alexander Zverev crashed out in his opening match of the Monte Carlo Masters on Tuesday, falling to Italy's Matteo Berrettini as defending champion Stefano Tsitsipas and Britain's Jack Draper both advance.
Yeah. So first of all, let's touch on that Sasha Zverev. So remember, Yannick Sinner has been sitting at home in the past 3 months, um, warming his heels from the doping, from the
From the
from
doping
the
ban.
doping
Yeah.
ban that he negotiated. Yes. And so the world number one ranking was supposed to be closed up. Sasha Zverev has failed at every opportunity to close that gap. The gap is not even near, but he at least closed the gap up. He hasn't tried it.
It
Now
feels like
this
the
is the
Premier
Monte.
League this season.
I'm telling you, it's like whatever Liverpool did, Arsenal was not able to take advantage of. That's exactly what Sasha Zverev was doing with the Monte Carlo Masters. And when you look at what happened, he was so excited about the Monte Carlo Masters. Because like, I'm playing at home. Boris Becker is with me. Boris Becker was on his team as a consultant, not in any official capacity. So he carried heavyweights to this one. And then he was talking about how, oh, I'm sleeping in my own bed, so I'm very comfortable. I was like, home advantage you have, world class backup you have.
You have.
Then the very first match, he lost. Don't get, and he won the first set. Oh, he lost the next 2 sets. Now you can argue that Matteo Berrettini, I mean, barring injuries, he's a fantastic tennis player, and he could have been ranked higher up on the table. Sorry, first table. He could have been ranked higher up when it comes to the players' rankings.
Mm.
However, to fall as the world number 2 in the first match with your home advantage, with your Boris Becker, it,
That is
it's epic
appalling.
stuff. It's epic stuff. It's epic stuff. And so, really poor one for him. Stefano Tsitsipas also had to survive. Had a pretty forgettable first set, but came back, won the second and third sets to advance. And then Jack Draper had it very easy. In fact, I think his own session was like training session. 6-1, 6-1. And he was through. But today we get to see Carlos Alcaraz, who's yet to win a match at Monte Carlo. So we want to see what he can do. He's had a really forgettable year compared to other seasons. So want to see if this is the time his season picks up. And then, of course, Novak Djokovic, who was denied his 100th title, ATP title, the last time out. So today is a good day at the Monte Carlo Masters. Remember the time, 10 a.m.
Indeed, remember the time, 10 a.m., like Michael Jackson. I had to do that. Didn't have much of a choice. Anyways, let's keep the ball rolling this morning. And speaking about balls rolling, we're heading into the world of football right now. And yes, this is where we had that oh shocking we're back home moment from last night, talking about the Champions League. And for a while, it seemed like the same old story. Real Madrid soaking up all the pressure while the attacking superstars waited impatiently to punish Arsenal on the counter. But Declan Rice and co had a different plan in mind. 3-0 winners at the Emirates. Tega.
Yes, and now they're talking about it is not impossible for them to overturn it at the Bernabeu, and they're right. It's not impossible for them to overturn it at the Bernabeu. That was just the first half that's gone. The second half, which is the 90 minutes at the Bernabeu, can be anything. And I've seen 3-0 overturned. Barcelona has been involved both times. I saw it against PSG. I saw Liverpool do their own. I saw Roma. Remember Roma?
Mm, mm. That night in
so,
Rome.
so I still remember the Greek god from I've come down from the hills to bring a miracle to Italy. I remember. You
Peter
remember that
Drury, you
commentary?
legend.
Yes. So we've seen it happen. It's not impossible, but we have to focus on the masterclass that was Arsenal yesterday. And before we get to the jollof rice of the matter, let's just touch a little bit on what Arsenal did defensively. Remember, that was the problem that most people were talking about with Arsenal before the match. It wasn't necessarily a question of who would score, because Starboy Bukayo Saka was starting, and at some point Trossard was coming in. So some Arsenal fans hoped that there will be goals coming in. But defensively, they lost Gabriel at a very crucial time. He's out for the rest of the season. And people were just talking about Kyrgios. In fact, yesterday I was looking at the internet. I was just like, this is not good for Kyrgios' mental health. Hope he has deactivated his social media, because everybody was questioning his competence, his mindset, all of that yesterday. And that was not enough. Remember, Jurgen Timber picked up an injury over the weekend. So even if he was starting, he wasn't going to be 100% fit. And then we talked about Lewis Kelly, who's a fantastic young player, but had the tendency to sometimes give away questionable tackles. And it was all about Arsenal's defense. Well, yesterday, the only person of the Fantastic Four I saw yesterday was Mbappe. And it was not the good version of Mbappe. The only person that really came, because at some point when I saw Rodrigo on the pitch, he looked like those waka pass in Nollywood movies.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. That was
That's
hurtful.
how Rodrigo was yesterday. The only time I saw him, I was in shock. I was like, you played today? Vinicius Junior was pretty anonymous. He was stumped. And then Jude Bellingham was really trying to run things. So he was somewhere in between being a midfielder and being a forward. I didn't know if he was a 10. I didn't know if he was an 8. In fact, sometimes he looked like a 6. It was just high. That for me, that was what it was. People can talk about the brilliance of Declan Rice goals, and you shouldn't stop talking about it. But you have to talk about how a combination of Thomas Partey alone in that midfield and Arsenal's back four were able to hold down Real Madrid's Fantastic Four. That was the brilliance for me of last night. Yes, now and then of course Declan Rice's first free kick, especially second free kick, the wall broke up. So that one I can forgive. But that first free kick, he called the ball around the wall. It's the kind of thing that you see in Fast and Furious. I say, which kind of unbelievable stunt is this?
It's film trick, that kind of
It's
thing.
film trick. That first goal, because he called it around the wall. So even if there was somebody, he just called that ball around the wall. It came back in, and it went into the back of the net. So brilliant performance all around by Arsenal. But for me, it was the outstanding defensive performance, and that midfield dominance by Thomas Partey. that made it beautiful for me.
Most definitely a great win, great win for the Arsenal
Arsenal. And on
faithful.
that note, Arsenal fans, I need you people to come out and tell me, before we go on the break, come out and tell us what your most perfect moment was, and if you think that Real Madrid, and what you think Arsenal should do to be able to come out of this tie, seeing that they're going to play 90 minutes at the Bernabeu. The numbers to send your messages to are
0809-444-0981. Also leave a message for us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. The Locker Room will be back on the other side of this very, very quick breather. As it is hot.
as it dey hot o, as it dey hot. Even me, I was shocked about Thomas Partey's defense. There was one time that Vinicius Junior got the ball, and Timber had gone up. He lost the ball, and Vinicius Junior looked like he was running into an empty space. I remember that time. Then Thomas Partey was the one he was running against. I was like, they don't score us now. The way he kicked that ball from Vinicius Junior, Vinicius was like, I thought they said you were old.
You thought wrong.
You thought wrong, my dear. You've been welcomed. Thomas Partey played yesterday. Even me as a Nigerian, I was impressed.
I think,
but that one no mean say
I think
I still mock them.
I think Arsenal are on PSG Aston Villa side of the draw, if I'm correct.
Yes. So after this, it's whoever wins PSG Aston Villa that plays, and that's so for me. That's the game I should be afraid of as an Arsenal fan, because Unai Emery seems to know them, and Luis Enrique is a wicked tactician.
Interesting.
He's a wicked tactician.
All right, let's go back in.
All right.
And we're back. Welcome into the Locker Room. If you're just tuning in, you are in the right place. Smooth 98.1, the Smooth Breakfast. We're talking sports in the Locker Room as we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:15 a.m. My name is Ayokunmi, and of course, the one and only Tega Supreme is with me this morning, taking a look at the sporting action. We've been talking about the Champions League and the big one, Arsenal clipping the wings, not clipping, ripping them off of Real Madrid. 3-0 winners last night, and we are looking to you to share your thoughts with us, your perspective of the game, and of course, what was the biggest thing for you in that tie. So send your messages to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981. YouTube, we're at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. And yes, Tega, a couple of messages have already come through concerning.
Let's just take those messages first before we go to the next story.
Okay, and Nathan Njoku says, Tega, I'm a football fan before a Liverpool fan. Don't go and say this at immense side, though. Nathan. He says, I told my Madrid friends that yesterday is the only day I'm going to support Arsenal with my full chest. You see? And wow, Rice blew my mind and showed why he's expensive even in Nigeria. I hope they can hold on and knock those braggadocious Madrid fans and players out. Well done, Arsenal.
That's true. Rice is expensive even in Nigeria. All right.
This is Maya Wainikeja. Says, my most perfect moment of the match was when the second free kick went in and the reaction from the bench and all the players. Courtois keeping the scoreline respectable with multiple saves. Very, very true. Emeka says, Arsenal should just call West Ham and pay them another 100 million. You see those free kicks, even David Beckham would be proud if he scored them. I'll also praise Courtois. If not for him, Madrid should have been 5 goals down. The amount of double saves he made showed why he's a top goalkeeper. But Baba still collect.
He still collects after all the heroics of yesterday with his double saves every 2 minutes. He still collects 3 at the end of the day.
Indeed. Fred says, yesterday night was super great. I remember saying it on the 20th of March when the noise about the ban for Mbappe and co was trending, that I wanted all of them to play so that when we defeat them, there won't be any excuses. That was the day our ladies defeated their ladies 3-0. We will all be at the Bernabeu to complete it. Okay, it seems like the stars are aligning for you guys. Women did it. The men have also done it.
Yes, so I totally forgot. I remember when I was bragging about it, the women came from 2 goals down to win 3-2 on aggregates. Yeah, they scored 3-0 in the second leg. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, let me just take one or two on YouTube and get back into the stories. Uchenna Okoye says, what a free kick by Rice. Wow, that is what elite football is made of. Stuff of legends. Declan has put his name in gold. Where is Mbappe? Where is Vinicius Ballon d'Or? Where is Jude? In Declan's pocket. Okay, Robert says, sometimes you just have to raise your hands up and accept. Arsenal did a remarkable job on Madrid yesterday. Selfishly, their win favors EPL as five EPL teams will be in the Champions League
Yeah,
next
remember I was
season.
telling you that England required just one win.
Just one win. Yes, you did.
Maybe that's why
Yes,
they
you did.
even did it. Oh, Mikel Arteta was like, let my Oga, let
My
my Oga,
guess, let him see work next
let
season
him
now.
see work to do next season. Unfortunately, he may not even see that work because the way Newcastle and Chelsea are finishing the season, it'll be tough
Mm,
to see fifth place. So,
indeed. All right, Tega, let's get back into the stories before we get back to more messages. And let's talk about the other game that happened last night. Bayern Munich coach Vincent Kompany said his side fully believe in their chances despite Tuesday's 2-1 home loss to Inter Milan in their Champions League quarterfinal first leg.
oh yes, and it was a forgettable first leg, especially not just for Bayern Munich as a team, but for Harry Kane especially because he had ample opportunity. There was this one chance that when Harry Kane missed it, I was like, yeah, it's over. It's done. He should just go and sit down for the rest of the season because only he was alone, and he had three quarters of the goalpost to aim for, and he still managed to miss the target. So when you think about people having a bad day, that was a bad day. It now took Thomas Müller, who people were saying this is his final season. It now took him, who Bayern Munich had discarded and said, you're too old and we've had you for too long, we have to change you, to now come from the bench to equalize for them. And then just
Mm,
whilst they were celebrating the equalizer, was when Fratesi scored. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes after they scored their equalizer that Fratesi scored the winning goal. So they created chances, they just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And they were playing at home. Now they're going to have to go and try to pull off a fantastic job in Italy.
mm,
And it could be tougher for them there. The first goal by Inter Milan too was a beautiful team goal. Thuram just placed the ball, and then Lautaro Martinez with the outside of his foot whipped that thing into the back of the net. So brilliant performance all round in the two matches. Or I know that it was Real Madrid and Arsenal that stole the spotlight, but Bayern Munich did come out. They played brilliantly. They just didn't take their chances. Inter Milan took their chances when it fell to them. And that's why they're going to be able to win this one. So the distance is not far. I mean, it's 2-1 and there's no away goal rule. So it's not
right.
impossible for Bayern Munich to come and win. But the fact that they're going to try to go and pull off this job in a in San Siro, where it will be a hostile environment, it could be tough for them. But it's not impossible. It's just tough.
Mm. Tough but not impossible. Can Bayern pull off the Italian job? You just wonder. You just wonder. All right, let's talk about Unai Emery, the Aston Villa manager. Now, he says that he's relishing the prospect of taking on PSG in the quarterfinals of the Champions League as the English former winners seek to end the French side's quest for continental glory.
Yes, so again, two teams in hot form. The difference between PSG, I would say, and Aston Villa is that some of the PSG players have been in this fire before in the UEFA Champions League under pressure fire, and Aston Villa players have not necessarily been there. But do not underestimate the importance of having an Unai Emery as your coach in Europe.
Mm,
Somehow he knows how to get these results. And that is what makes for an interesting match. The fact that they have an experienced Unai Emery on the sidelines for Aston Villa. He just needs to move the right pieces around to be able to get the right result. With Arsenal yesterday, it was fantastic. But with Unai Emery, you can see where they have a little bit of brilliance. Rashford scoring at the right time, starting to score at the right time for Aston Villa, and remembering that he has UEFA experience, Europe experience, with
true.
scoring this kind of big fixtures. All right, and then when you look at the brilliance of the team as a whole, the way they perform, and then of course, let's not forget the Emi Martinez factor. I don't understand what this guy and the French are doing. Did you see his hair? Did you see his hair? Did you see
No,
the hat he wore?
no, I did
He's
not.
just, why would you instigate people like that? He wore the World Cup hat again,
That's his that's his thing.
just to make the French fans mad. Do you understand? So
He's
there's
local
also
like
that
that.
factor. Yeah, he is like that. And so he's going to get on the pitch and try to stop all the chances that Bakola, Dembele, and the rest will score. So it puts this match in a precarious position. Now, to sit down and say, oh, PSG is going to completely destroy Aston Villa would be to be naive, considering yesterday's results. So
Hmm.
I think it's going to be just two informed players. It will come down to which person's tactics on the sideline functions better.
Indeed, indeed. All right, let's talk about what to expect this evening in terms of Barcelona. Now, Gavi has been speaking. Now, he admitted that the Catalan Giants can be beaten despite not suffering a single defeat in 2025.
I agree with him, especially when you look at their match over the weekend where they struggled against Real Betis. Sometimes they create those chances, they just don't bury them. And as a Barcelona team, they know that defensively they always give up one or two goals. So
Hmm.
it could make it interesting. They're playing against Borussia Dortmund, a team that seems to be compact in defense and then expressive when it comes to their wing play and their counter attacks, and that's where you can catch Barcelona because when Barcelona is attacking, they tend to attack with that high line, and
Right.
a team like Borussia Dortmund can take advantage with their pace, with their style of counter attacking football to break in behind the defense and get one or two goals. So yes, they are beatable, and I like the fact that it's the players that are thinking about it. That look, we are not invincible. We can be beaten. So I think they're going to approach this match not as favorites because at this stage now, they are no favorites. So it's what you play on the day that determines if you are favorites.
Bam.
They are not favorites on paper. It's what you play on the day. And so they know that they are not invincible. They know that there's no such thing as favorite tag to take you through. So they are ready to knuckle down and do the work against Borussia Dortmund because it can be a very tricky tie. I don't take Borussia Dortmund for granted. There's a reason they were finalists last season and they are back here at this stage in the quarterfinals again. So yes, I like the fact that Hansi Flick and his players are very wary. But if you're going to watch the interesting one, the explosive one game, I think tonight will be PSG against Aston Villa. But if you want to get a good game, Barcelona will always deliver a good game. The question is, will they be the one handing out the football lessons, or will they be the one receiving football lessons?
That's
Time
the
will tell.
question. Time will tell. All right, let's take messages, man. They've lined up here. Let me just get through as many as I can.
As possible. All right, let's do
Uh,
that.
AY from Manuru says Real Madrid were abysmal against Arsenal last night. Almost all the Madrid players were ghosts, nowhere to be seen, especially Camavinga and no, it's Jude Bellingham. AY Jude Bellingham. I won't pronounce what you said here. Fantastic performance from Arsenal, who now have a 3-goal advantage going into the second leg at the Bernabeu. I was just blasting Udumodu Black's Declan Rice song continuously on repeat. What an amazing performance! Taya says
Abi?
says, and he feel like Declan Rice. Homie channel his inner Juninho and serve the whole Real Madrid team takeaway. Big L without meat. Bars, man. Arsenal should just build a statue for him and their free kick coach. The hate watch failed. People had to start deleting their drafts. Indeed, a lot of drafts were deleted. Tosin said that free kick was like banana. It stretched like Courtois. That goal in the Louvre. Like you said, brilliant performance by the team was a work of art, really and truly. This is coming from Ralph. He says, yeah, daddy's daddy, COYG. That's common, you gunners, if you did not know. And he says, I believe we can do a PSV at the Bernabeu. So let's keep the same team and stick to the same approach next week. Wherever Arteta goes, we follow. Oh, it's not wherever he goes, you follow. Okay. Mohammed
Oh.
says, Tega Ayo is right. Without stability in the coaching team, you can't achieve a three-peat. A typical example is Golden State Warriors with Steve Kerr in recent times. Arsenal
Yeah.
owners always expect too much from spending peanuts. The Boston Celtics have the most powerful team lineup in the NBA. And he says, as much as I don't like Arsenal, I'm happy that they beat Madrid yesterday. Now, only them Waka come. 15 UCL is too much, but let others win.
Abi?
Okay. Bobby says, so now that Arsenal have put this big cog in the wheel, what should Papa Perez now turn to for marketing his players for Ballon d'Or? Ballon flow, not ballon d'or. Lekon says Arsenal was brilliant on the night and deserved the results. However, they should be humble. Bayern Munich is out already. It will be hard to beat Inter Milan at home. Just 2-1, though. It's just 2-1. Oluwaseyi says, let Arsenal fans gloat a bit. They deserve it for all the heartbreaks they've suffered. Rice took the game by the scruff of the neck. That's a star performance. It's what legends are made of. Zikolo says, that was a great performance by the Arsenal boys last night. I was so happy that sleep refused to come. Zikolo. Now let's go to
That's
the
what I was
Bernabeu and
telling them.
finish
Oh,
the job.
go to sleep. Go to sleep. People would not want to sleep.
We only need to approach the match as though the first leg was 0-0 and give it our best. Okay, let me go to YouTube real quick.
That's true.
On YouTube, Padre Payo says, I'm proud of Mikel Arteta. I was always critical of the guy. I am happier because this win means England gets one additional spot. So good for City or Chelsea or Newcastle, really. Can Madrid overturn it? Yes, they can. Richard says, no banter from Amati today. I had such a beautiful last night after that game. Well done, guys. Adebola Okoyemi says, oh, what a day to be alive. I'd love to hear what Tega has to say about Rice or Arsenal today. Proper football heritage was on display yesterday by my boys. Love it. Well, you've heard what Tega had to say. And Ion Fedada says, Courtois' clutch saves limited the scoreline to just 3-0. Real Madrid's attack were ghosts last night, completely disappeared against Arsenal, especially Mr. I will do it 10 times and Inspector Rajesh. You people are wicked.
Oh God, you are so mean.
All right,
stomp on us. Today's exactly. Today's your day to stomp on us. Congratulations to Arsenal fans. Today it's Barcelona's and PSG fans that are up next. Let's see what your team will do. On that note, thank you for sending your messages to us. Thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. We'll be back again on Friday, and this time Manchester United. You have a real job to do, all right? Will you be able to survive that? We'll find out tomorrow. On that note, have a fantastic week.
All right, have a fantastic one. Thank you so much, Tega, as always. And thank you for keeping it tuned to the locker room and to the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Don't go anywhere. At 9 o'clock, we'll get into a world of conversation on Lagos Talks.